Hello everybody, it's me, Andrew Duthie, aka Floodblood yet again, and in this video I will be reviewing the Quest Scuba Tector Pro underwater metal detector. But first, let's do the unboxing, shall we? The Quest Scuba Tector Pro comes in a solid, well-built and very well illustrated cardboard packaging. Inside we have the metal detector itself, stickers together with registration details, and furthermore inside we have a very well illustrated instructions for the most basic functions of the metal detector. Underneath that we have a card with a link to the Quest Go app, available on iOS and Android. Though I must warn you that the reviews seem to be less than stellar at this stage, so yeah. Next we have a catalogue containing all the other Quest products that you want to buy. And after that we have a bag containing the charging cable, lanyard, and an anti-loss rope, which is basically the wrist tie. Next we have a string net bag, which I'm just going to straight up state that is completely useless because it broke on me on the first day, so don't bother with it. And finally we have a handle adapter and some extra screws, O-rings and a keychain adapter to go and put on the end of your grip. But let's get to the detector itself. In short, the Quest Scuba Tector Pro is a compact, foldable, underwater metal detector with an ability to operate up to 60 meters underwater. Unlike comparable underwater detectors, the Scuba Tector Pro has the ability to be folded for easier transport, going from a total length of 43 to just 25 centimeters, allowing it to be carried in a small bag, whilst other models would require some kind of disassembly. Operation of the Scuba Tector Pro is simple and mostly involves the two exterior buttons on the shaft. Press the power button to switch the detector on, and the mode button to set the sound and vibration settings. Pressing both buttons at the same time sets the detector's sensitivity, which is split into 4 modes: low, medium, high, and boost. Moving to the back, we have a waterproof end cap, which contains a USB-C charging point inside for the included charging cable. On either side of the charging point though, we have 2 smaller buttons. One is to reset the detector to factory settings, while the other is to activate dive mode. Dive mode is intended for use when swimming below 10 meters underwater. Once you go past that depth, the water pressure will be constantly pressing on the exterior buttons, essentially making the detector unusable. Activating dive mode thus disables the exterior buttons, but you can still switch between active and standby modes by rotating the detector a set number of times to preserve battery. Now, this is obviously fantastic for use by scuba divers, as the Scuba Tector Pro is rated for use up to 60 meters underwater. However, it must be noted that the instructions for this advanced feature is only available through the Quest website, so many users would likely never be aware that this feature even exists. On top of the end cap, we have the screw-on attachment point, used for several accessories. The first is a handle adapter that enables the Scuba Tector Pro to be used for beachcombing. It's important to note that Quest themselves do not seem to sell any extra handles or any accessories for that matter on their website, so I use a spare broom handle for beachcombing instead. The second accessory is the so-called security anchor. This is used to secure both the wrist tie and the lanyard to prevent you from losing the detector while swimming. Both these accessories are solid and well made, especially the lanyard, which can be secured with Velcro for quick detach, or more securely on a carabiner. And now for the price. At the upper end of the $200 range, the Scuba Tector Pro is slightly more expensive than other contemporary handheld detectors. But as none of the other detectors have as much functionality and modularity as the Tector Pro, I personally find this price to be quite fair. And now the moment you've all been waiting for.
Here I am in the absolutely wonderful Marwan beach to go and finally test exactly what this metal detector is capable of. Over here we have several metallic items that we can use. In lieu of treasure, I'm using my spare airsoft Glock outer barrels. Over here we have the Agency Arms barrel, which is made of steel. The DEM Gunfighter barrel, which is made of pot metal, which tends to be a alloy of zinc with other various metals, I have no idea. And this Zev threaded outer barrel, which is made of aluminium. Together we also have a few smaller coins, $2 British 2 pence thing made of copper, well, partly copper, and a Hong Kong 10-cent coin. The detector will also be set on the boost setting, because ultimately the lower settings tend to only be used for areas with a high mineral content. And if you see over here, the sand in this particular beach does not have any metal in it at all.
As expected, the detector performed fine regardless of the metal used due to their shared high electrical conductivity. The signal should be better for ferrous metals like steel, though with this detector any signal differences was barely noticeable. Unsurprisingly, the signals were weaker for smaller objects like the coins, and required closer proximity and a slower sweep in order to detect reliably. It's also important to note that orientation can seriously affect signal strength, especially for flatter objects like coins, where the faces of the coins register strongly, but the edges can barely be picked up. The next test was to determine how the Detector Pro performed with buried objects. I first buried the steel barrel to a depth of 10 centimeters, which the detector picked up quite well. I then buried it over 25 centimeters deep, which then turned out to exceed the detection range. However, when digging the barrel back up, a phone call from my partner on what I wanted for dinner resulted in me losing track of where I'd buried it. This was a problem, as it was an RWA Agency Arms Glock outer barrel which was quite expensive, and I was planning on selling it later this month. This turned the test into a genuine recovery operation where I had to use the Detector Pro to repeatedly scan my dig site to locate and recover the barrel, to which I was eventually successful.
Look, there it is. Turns out I dug it out and threw it into the side, so I couldn't find it. I was worried for a minute. I thought I lost it.
Further tests on other objects such as the coins largely came to similar conclusions.
There we go. So I think around like 10 or so centimeters down is probably the limit for small sized coins like this. You could probably extend it around about to like 15, 20, maybe even 25 for larger objects, like say a pot metal, airsoft outer barrel like this one. But any more, and you're definitely not doing it with a with a casual scuba diving detector. Let's just say that you need more specialized equipment if you do want to actually get something, have something more comprehensive. Another thing is also that the search coil tends to be vertical. It's not very wide spanning, so you have to sway it side to side quite a lot. It doesn't cover a lot of area, as with more professional detectors, which would obviously have a larger search coil and also greater power. So in the end, this is generally for surface or just slightly subsurface detecting. How does this all function in water? I don't know, and I'm not ready to get my feet wet to go and test it out, so you're gonna have to figure out on the way. But in the end, like, for something that costs this affordable, it's still really, really impressive, and ultimately, you can fold it up as well, which basically is probably invaluable for the casual beginner like me.
Subsequent expeditions around my island have mostly turned up small, odd objects ranging from tent pegs to bottle caps and the odd massive steel plate for some strange reason buried on our beachside. That's mainly because I live quite far out of the way in Hong Kong and there's not very many people visiting. Hopefully someday I'll go visit somewhere popular like Repulse Bay and see what I can go and find round there. And there we go. Ultimately, the Quest Scuba Tector Pro is a small, compact and affordable way for new people to get into the hobby of metal detecting, like me. And I can't wait to figure out what kind of treasure is lying beneath our feet. In the end, I hope you enjoy this review as much as I did making it. Like and subscribe if you want some more, and as always, have a nice day.